This is Westwood International Airport, and today's episode we're going to build exactly this airport, including the entire airport city around it. But before I got there, I obviously had to build a city to make it work, which is that one, but more about this in the next episode. In today's episode, we are building the international airport, so I'm already a little bit into the build. I might add, this is the exact same map and the exact same location I did build the international airport during my Gamescom livestream, or at least somewhat similar from the setting. And I did build this to showcase how much more you can do once you have time at hand. For those of you who have seen the live stream or you who've seen the speed build afterwards, know that it was a little bit of a mess, a hot mess, because I needed to basically bring as much into the live stream as possible to make as much news value for you guys during the live stream. And obviously that has been a lot of fun, but equally problematic for building this actual airport city. But this time around, I really do focus on what has been the most important thing for me: building a proper airport city that is realistically set in a huge town, you know, making sure we have a lot of parking facilities, making sure that we have a realistic connection to the local transport system, the public transport system, and also for more transport systems that go for the further outreach of the airport, because usually you have like a bigger city nearby, but then you also have a lot of satellite towns and smaller cities in the wider field around that. And this is what I want to do with this project, actually, to have our Westwood, which is the big city close by, but also a couple of smaller cities in this area. So that should definitely make a lot of sense. And I do think that this project so far has been going very well, I have to say. I admit that some of the things I tested during the early access didn't really work out the way I wanted it to, but in this project specifically, I could finally start trying around with a couple of things, because I had the confidence from playing the game for a couple of weeks now and being able to, you know, deal with a couple of restrictions that the game in its core version has. Not only speaking about performance, but also some of the things still need some work, you know, some of the things we don't have in the game. So for example, we don't have any keys at the moment in the game, which is a bit of a problem because, you know, making a harbor is not particularly easy. However, I will have something for you during the next days, so be excited for that one. I kind of abused a couple of things in, I think, a very good way. Haven't seen anyone else doing that so far, so hopefully that's going to be a little bit of an invention here. At least this is something I do think, but also making sure that we come over some of the restrictions that, for example, the lack of props have. So what I mean by that is I wanted to have a wonderful tram connection over here, but the tram line obviously at this point in time does not have proper stations that you can put somewhere. I really would have loved to have like a race station that we can put above you know, a street or something like that. I really would have loved to have like a proper station that is next to the street and not in the street itself. But the problem about this is we don't really have the props at this point. I definitely think that in the future, with DLCs, updates, mods, and so on, we will have those. But at the moment, we are relying on putting down a stop, and then the stop sign creates like a little bit of a station vibe on the street where you have put the station down. Now, that said, this is exactly why I created something over here with a little bit of a different idea behind this. So you'll see that later in today's video. I put down a little bit of an offset street, which was raised, and then it creates this wonderful concrete foundation below, and it just kind of creates this implied raised station, which I think is a beautiful idea to do it that way. But now it was time to really build the layout for the airport city. I may add, though, that I will be changing some of the buildings. Now, with the growables, we obviously have the problem that we are not fully in control to whether they are super high or super tall or not super tall, you know. And I try to go with the bigger office systems, and I try, you know, at the beginning I try to see how tall are they going to be, because obviously, as this is like an international airport, you don't want to put too many high towers in the landing zones, like in the start and landing areas. However, the game would allow that to happen, I think realistically that's not the best idea to do, and this is why I ended up changing some of the areas in terms of zoning, but more about that in the real-time part. I think this is where you can really see how it all ties together. At this point I also tried to make sure that the traffic is flowing rather nicely, and I have to say already, spoiler ahead, this is by far the best working traffic I have in all my projects so far. It's still quite a bit of a struggle, which should not come too much as a surprise, but and this, by the way, is the station I was talking about, where I just used a little offset over here, making sure that this is the tram station that we have in the center area. We also have like a lot of huge parking lots over there. We have got the houses, like the parking houses, the towers, the underground parking, but we also do have like open parking lots. Like this is usually what you do know from airports, that they have like vast fields of car park area, because so many people, you know, used to park their cars there, and not only the people flying and attending a flight or something, but it's also the people working there. Speaking of working, obviously this is what this airport city should be all about. This is meant to be one of the more modern airport cities. I based this not particularly on, like, for example, Düsseldorf, which is the airport I used to use the most often, but I also checked other airports, you know, Frankfurt Airport, but also some other, Charles de Gaulle, and all these airports usually do have quite a significant area around them where there are like a lot of modern offices, there are hotels, there are, you know, stuff like that is just usually around airports. That makes sense, and I wanted to achieve something like this with this particular build over here. So not only to have the airport in a location like this, but also have all the facilities and the infrastructure around. Speaking of infrastructure, this is one of the coolest entrance ways over here I made. This is a little bit of a complicated one, and it doesn't really follow a certain pattern, but I did see some of these raised kind of roundabout things above another roundabout from other areas. Düsseldorf has something not similar, but something in this way, where you have like a lower area and a raised area. I mean, this airport over here does not really have the ability to connect these things on different layers, but if you go to some real-life airports, they have like some of those have even 3 layers, where if you have 3 streets above each other, so that level 1 is like arrivals, level 2 is kind of the flights, and level 3, I don't know, as where you have the lift-off area, or maybe sometimes you even have like this is just like the public area where people can go to grab up the people that just arrived or that will leave soon or whatever, or there's like a business area in the 3rd level. Many chances you have, but since this, and this is maybe one of the negative points of the game as of now, and I think this has to be improved in the future upon most things. I think this is most of the great structures look phenomenal, but they're like super stiff and not flexible. By the way, you do see a little bit of the town over here, but about the town in the next episode. I guess, you know, you can see a little bit of a spoiler right now to connect the inner, you know, the inner infrastructure, but it's more about the airport in today's episode. Which is why we do cut just a little bit forward to what is going to be a little bit of a town next to the airport. Now, I do have to say, like, if you look at different airports, we have airports like in Munich, for example, that is a little bit off the city. You know, it's not particularly close to the city. But then again, you have got Düsseldorf, for example, which is almost city center in a way, and it's surrounded by a lot of living quarters and districts. But the thing is, I wanted to have like a little bit of a mixture. I didn't want to have it too close to the center, but it should not be totally off. So this little town over here is going to be the closest town where people live, and we also do have a couple of residentials in the actual living area, or like in the suburban area of this airport city, which honestly most of it was due to the fact that offices wouldn't grow otherwise at this point. Like in City Skylines 2, it seems that offices require a certain desirability in terms of the area where they are put in, and that it comes also with residential desirability, which makes sense, and this is why I needed to put a couple of those in. And as soon as the residential and some of the commercial areas were growing, then the offices would be growing too. This is why usually I wouldn't have taken the residentials to be a thing in there, but also visually they do kind of fit in. Hence, I'm not even too worried about this anymore. But yeah, you'll see over here some fields already getting in. I will put a couple more of these fields in the middle between this little town and the airport. To be totally fair, I think it should have been a little bit further away from the airport to have a bit more of a countryside road connecting those two, but I will eventually enlarge the land mass a little, so do a bit of a terraforming to also get rid of some of the issues I have with the bridge over there. So that's gonna be how it's gonna look in the future, but also a couple of energy things over here. These wind turbines, I hope they would realistically fit here. They are quite close to the airport, but then again, I also checked Google Maps and saw that, you know, realistically, there is not really that huge of a distance that is required to be between an airport and these things. I mean, you know, there are also these energy masts and stuff like that usually are also of a certain size and height. Hence, I think this is just realistic. Yeah, then I also just did a couple of sporting facilities here, just making sure that this town makes also sense. I'm not sure why I had this in mind, but for whatever reason, some of the most well-known football clubs in my area, like like for us, like the local football clubs, have their pitches and their areas also close to the airport. It's always terrible to play there because you can't really hear a thing once an Airbus is just going to land there or whatever, or Boeing. It's super close to the football ground, and then you just don't hear a thing, either of your coach or teammates or whatnot. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put another sporting area here too, just because I felt like this is something I needed to do. Yeah, I had a couple of issues here with some of the connection for the roads and for the system. As you can see, I'm changing a couple of things here to make it work. I needed to use some tunnels. I wanted to make a bridge, but then the bridge didn't work with the ship connection, and I know that I can change the ship connections, which eventually I will have to do to get another bridge in, and this is all going to happen in the harbor episode. So you can imagine Westwood is going to be our like over-the-top big huge modern city project, if you will. I think this is the best description, which isn't too precise, but I think it still covers the essence of what I'm doing. Yeah, you can see I was struggling a little bit to get the bridge over the ship lines, which I do like the fact that they require a lot more space now. I think this is realistic and also makes sense. Otherwise, you would have a lot of clipping and stuff going on. So not the biggest fan of that. But at the end of the day, it also was a little bit too finicky to get these together. But yeah, you know, eventually we'll work with that. As always, the same issue. I forgot to put all the trees down at the beginning. So they have to grow now over time. I really wish to have a toggle soon where I can decide to plop them in its fully grown appearance right at the beginning. Like little things that need to be fixed. And don't worry if I'm not addressing the performance too much. I mean, in the speed builds, it's not really super relevant either way, but you'll see that in the real-time part, that even in this project with a couple of hundreds or thousands of inhabitants, so it's not even that huge, we are still having a rather decent, but only decent performance. Like, it's not a great performance at this point, but you know, as we were talking about this quite a lot already, and other creators have addressed that as well. Paradox is aware of that. They are working on the performance, and also I have to say, during the beta phase and the early access phase, we got a lot of updates, and for me personally, it improved the performance dramatically. I have been there like 2 or 3 weeks ago where the game was barely playable for me anymore, or not anymore, but it wasn't. And then they came up with a couple of updates which improved it dramatically. So there is hope, and I thought I have to address this in today's episode, because there has been a lot of talks about the performance in the last couple of days, and I don't want to paint a too bright of a picture. It is relevant for many people, and if you don't have a beefy machine like I have, it may cause some issues. But if you have a decent machine, the game is playable and it's getting improved over time. That is certain. But again, I just thought I have to mention a little bit of a positive, that it improved for me and is playable for me. I think it's a very individual experience at this point, which, to be honest, isn't the greatest thing to say, because that also means that the problem is not one problem to pinpoint, but a very individual performance issue. But nevertheless, there is good stuff to be done with this game already, and the state is or in this, in the state as it is right now. So just to reinforce, if you are willing to get this game and you have a decent computer, go for it. It works and you can play quite nicely, and it also obviously takes a lot of time until you are getting to like 30, 40, 50,000 inhabitants, and it's still doable. And you can also reduce the graphics a little bit. Like, remember, I'm playing on all high settings and stuff. I'm playing though only in full HD. I'm not playing on 1080p. I'm not playing in 4K or whatsoever. But then again, that also doesn't change too much of the performance if you are on a good graphics card. I think the most of the bottleneck of this game, and this is why my performance seems to be rather good, is obviously down to CPU and RAM, it seems. So yeah, not really too much of a topic for much more in this video. But let's talk about what we are seeing on screen now. The overall layout in this area, as you can see, is growing dramatically. I opted for like a huge round shape for round course, which is one-way roads that guides the people towards the airport and away from it. I wanted to ensure that at least the typical inwards and outwards traffic for delivering people and goods to the airport and out isn't affected by the city around, or like by the little facilities around. And I wanted to maintain this easy in and out attempt of what you need for an airport. I mean, nowadays we've become very how to say that, very easygoing with airports. Like, people used to be there like for a couple of hours before, a couple of hours after, and just like that. But nowadays, like business flights and stuff, people arrive like half an hour before liftoff, and takeoff, and this is something that requires a very good in and outwards guided traffic, so that this isn't hindered by any other traffic that is going to be leaded here. So this is one of the attempts I have, and you can see I ensured that we have two major highway connections into and out of the area that both are facing just instantly into where you need to go, and that is right into the drop-off area and entrance area. Yeah, then I also tried to do a little bit of a nice styling here behind one of the starting and landing zones. As I said, this is something I addressed earlier already. They are not really flexible, and you can't really do too much of the props with the airports. You can add a couple of upgrades to the smaller airports, but you can't really do any upgrades on the international airport. It is what it is, and I just opted here for some little area as if this is like another facility area in the back. I put like a couple of things here to ensure that this is looking nice. Again, this is all like beautification. This is cosmetic reasons, but as you can see here also with the international airport, there is a little bit of an issue because you have these huge grass patterns. I mean, I know why they're there. They are basically there to avoid anything being built too close to the airport, to maintain a certain realism aspect of it. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that, because I want to have a bit more control over what I want to do with the area. I want to make some trees grow, and it would be more realistic and more nice if I could decide what would go there and stuff like that. And now obviously there are some facilities that are on an airport quite often, and this is cargo, mail, and delivery stuff like that. It makes sense that we have a lot of these facilities in here, some hubs, some technical facilities, and all these kind of things usually are around an airport, because you get air mail, you get air cargo, and all these kind of things are relevant to this area. We've got some server farms here. There is space given, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of people around, so that makes a lot of sense that we have certain things like that. I just noticed there was a building on fire. I think I haven't noticed that while building, but I think this is also why we have some more fire departments here and there, and making sure that everything looks nice. And this is what I talked about earlier in today's episode. Some of the office buildings were a little bit too tall, and this is why I exchanged some of the high-rise office buildings of this region with the ones in the actual airport region. And then I figured, okay, we need some more industrial space, so why not add some more space? This is again something I will talk about more about in the episode once we've done that. The Westwood city building episode, which is going to be the next one. It's kind of reversed engineered because I wanted to show you the beautiful airport area first before we then go on with the actual building of Westwood in the next episode, which is going to be super exciting. But now it's time to jump into the real-time part. Alright, so this is it, our international airport, including the airport city. As I've said, the trees need to grow a little, but other than that, we can already see, look at that, there's already a plane landing. Just followed by another one. Oh my god, that's a close landing after each other. They have to really be careful. We've got a cargo airplane coming in and another one just after the other. Look at that, this is so good. I have to change the colors of the different routes, by the way, but for the moment being, I just stuck to what I have done there. But you can see there's quite a lot of traffic going on here, other than in our city, because there's not really that much traffic going on here with the cars and stuff, because as I said, it just kind of works beautifully. Now, let me just showcase a lot of the things I was talking about. So this, as I said, over here is the wonderful raised platform. This is where like the trams get in, and then they just you know, connect over here. You can see there are some people walking by with some dogs having a little walk over here. Look at that. Hello, are you going to the airport or just living in this area with your wonderful Labradors? Oh, look at that. Ah, look at these guys just having a little stroll here towards the international airport. We've got the trains coming in and out. There are some building sites over here. Oh, we have got a petrol station. Okay, of course, you know, if you need to have a little bit of a gasoline stop by, you can do that over here. And then we also have our office district. What I do like quite a lot is that with our parking lot over here, we have some more buildings around the parking lot that are equally high, so that the parking lot building doesn't look too much out of place. We've got some more high rises over here with the mast in between. It's not really that healthy to live around here, I guess, with all the radiation, but okay, or radio signals, I should say. And we've got some other buildings over here, some more commercials and small offices and industrial. One thing I love in particular is that now with this game, it's so much more easy to build certain elements below the street, as you can tell over here. This is so cool. Look, for example, look at these. I'm just gonna go all the way down so you can see that. These buildings, like, they are growables, right? And they have been grown just below the highway, but perfectly placed. Look at that. This is the perfect space in between. And once we scroll up, you can really see, bam, this is the area. And then turn around and see this area working pretty nicely over here. We've got the airport there in the back hiding away, and then this is where the airport comes in. Like, if we go up, you can see the planes coming in and out. We still would need to do something here in the back. This is something for the next episodes. And then if we zoom out a little more, you can see this is how the island looks now. As I've just said, in the middle there needs to be a bit of a nice connection. We can actually follow this airplane over here. Let's just hit the game, pause, and then we can see. Are you actually landing over here? Oh no, it's just crossing by. So yeah, but I mean, look at this area. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm a huge fan of that. I'm a huge fan of these parking areas, and this is exactly what I meant. I would be so happy to be just able to put the parking somewhere over here, you know, just connecting these areas. I made some maintenance roads that go along here. Like, we've got some facilities here in the back, you know, as you can see, there's like a central intelligence office. Everything is nicely connected here. We've got this little area. Everything is just like implied. There's a lot of implied stuff going on. So that is why. Look at the two airplanes. Oh, they almost crashed into each other. I've never really looked too close what's happening over here. Let's have a little look. Let's follow them around if they stop for each other until they take off. Let's have a look. I mean, look at that. The landing and takeoff strip is pretty open and free. There's nothing, no danger of high rises and stuff becoming an issue. They're both starting after each other right away. They are very brave. Very brave people. I think this is something they could fix, you know, because obviously that's not really realistic that they both do that. Like, lift off. Woo, take off over here. I'm not sure why I'm saying lift off the whole time. Yeah, see you later, guys. Have a good one. So this one is going to take the left turn, and that one is going to go also very much left turn. Okay, see you later. Okay, now they took it to the skies, and this is where we left off. I love specifically this area over here is something I do love. You can see the traffic flow is pretty decent. We don't have that much traffic going on here anyways, but the flow itself is rather decent. So they get in here, can take the roundabout, go into their office region over here. I potentially should make like a direct connection into this roundabout too, because is that like a traffic accident? How is that so much of an issue, guys? That cannot be true. What the heck? Okay, so can you just use the other lanes then? This is so stupid. Okay, this is like an easy fix. I should just increase the size of the 4-lane road over here. You know what? Let's just really do that. This is such an easy fix. Highways, 4-lane, upgrade. So there you go. That should actually, you know, fix it. You don't need to go here. Come on, just take that road, and then everything should be good. They just need to try to sort in this way. That should be a lot easier now. Yeah, wonderful. Look at that. Fix it. Yeah, I'm still confused to why the other ones don't take all the other lanes, because there were so many lanes open and free. But yeah, so that's that. You can see there are a couple of issues here still. We need some more employees. We need some more space, and we need some more living space. You can see the demand is out of control at this point. This is where Westwood sits. As I said, we will have a talk about this in the next episode, and there's still plenty of space left to do other stuff in this project over here. I'm really looking forward to how this is going to turn out at the end. Really love the map, really love what we can do with it. It's actually pretty decent. So yeah, that's gonna be very interesting. And also I'm mega happy with the just general looks of it. If you compare that to what I've built, also let's go back into the photo mode. I just like the photo mode a lot more. If you compare that to what we've been doing with the Gamescom stream, you can see how much more is possible when you have the time. So this is our cargo office area, as you can see over here, the cargo area. I have like a cargo train station that is surrounded by some parking lots. There are a lot of server farms around here. We've got a this kind of waste facility, which turns that into power, which I forgot the name of. Something like a carnation plant, whatever. A waste decanation plant. I just don't know. There's like a mail office over here, which is going to be sitting in a little bit of a area. Yeah, but still it shows how much we would need some more props in this game. Like, we don't really have too much we can use with the parks over here. Like, we have some landmarks, but nothing in particular would work over here. We can use the Grand Hotel. We could use some of these, but it's not really necessarily something that you would use. Like, we've got a medieval castle, tourism spots. We've got some of these. It's not really much you can use over here. And the same goes also in here. There's like a lot of smaller things you can use, but nothing really in particular that sticks out to detailed things. So this is something I really hope in the future is going to work. I'm gonna have some leg spikes over here, but overall, this was what I was talking about. We have 31.6 thousand inhabitants, and the performance still is relatively decent, I must say. We have some leg spikes here and there, but other than that, it just all works fine. It's getting a little bit more worth if you speed up the game, but not that dramatically though, so it's all good. But yeah, so with this airplane taking it to the skies, which I'm going to stop over here, I will be saying goodbye for this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm also hoping that this reaches a couple more people than the first episode of the other project. Just hoping that you guys get into the City Skylines 2 mood. And if so, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you want to see more of that in the future, make sure to subscribe, because that is exactly what's gonna notify you when there is a new video. And for all the other people who used to watch my videos, please double check if you're still subscribed. There's some weird stuff going on with my channel that people are unsubscribed even though they know and state that they have been subscribed in the future, in the past. So please double check if that still is the case, because otherwise you will not be notified when there is new content, and there is a lot of content coming in the next couple of days. So thank you so much as always for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. I talk to you in the next one, and goodbye.